The Vancouver Canucks did something that no one thought they would do. Something smart, as they have kept a few of their players around. And we got Deeds in the comments talking about winners and losers. We will certainly get to all of those. But I think one of the bigger winners has to be the Vancouver Canucks. It is very strange to say, look, the Canucks made a huge splash. They did an excellent job. Winners of the day. What did they do? They kept together a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. Follow me on this one. But they lock in Thatcher Demko, Brock Boeser, and Connor Garland on 3 separate deals. Honestly, I genuinely didn't think this would happen, and that's why we're leading it off today. I think it is one of the biggest surprises of free agency day one, specifically Boeser. I thought he was as good as gone from Vancouver. There was zero smoke about this guy going to the Canucks. Now, I will say, there was zero smoke about him going anywhere. People kind of assumed, the Minnesota or something. He doesn't want to stay in Canada. He's going to go to one of these spots. But aside from anything of that, we didn't hear a word on it. And basically every Canuck rumor, including, not even just rumor, move, Evander Kane. I put out the video saying that I hated the Evander Kane move, and I'll maybe adjust in a second here. But even Canuck fans in the comments, who were so nice to me, were saying, look, as a Boeser replacement, he's cheaper than him, and he can produce just blah, 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 blah. So Canuck fans were already like, okay, and then when Boeser leaves, it's going to be fine. So to bring him back, I think is a huge boost, and it kind of feels like an addition for the Canucks, because you had already assumed he was gone. And it is not just that, but it's not even at an overpayment. It is a very reasonable contract for Brock Boeser to be brought in at. I am so surprised when you are looking at the desperation of some of the teams that are in the NHL right now to not be able to match 7 at 7.25 for that dude. I am genuinely stunned. Like for Anaheim, we keep hearing about the big splashes they were going to make. They go 3x7 for Mikael Granlund. Could we not have gone 7.5, 8, even for Brock Boeser? I am really, really surprised that the Canucks were able to get him at that type of a number. I just thought, given the lack of options out there, given the amount of desperate teams, and given how damn good he is as a goal scorer, I was really surprised that move ended up going the way that it did, with the Canucks locking him in basically right away to start free agency. The Demko contract, it feels like a win-win. And there are certainly people who are criticizing it, and I hear where that is coming from. But the term, I think, is team-friendly, given the fact that there are health issues with this particular goalie. The amount of money is what you give a goalie when he's as good as Thatcher Demko can be. And so it felt like both sides had a little bit of give and a little bit of take on that. There are going to be some people who, given the injury history, are like, yeah, 1 year at the min, let's figure this thing out. But that's obviously not going to work. You know how good when this guy is at the peak of his powers, he steals playoff series. Not just games, not periods, not wind, no. Playoff series is the type of goalie that we are talking about here in Thatcher Demko. But he's been hurt. And the injuries that he has and has sustained don't really seem like they're going to get a whole lot better all the time, right? Like it seems like it is going to be a perpetual oh, he's good. Okay, great. With Demko. But if you get even close to what you should be able to get out of this guy, then you have a foundational goaltending piece that everyone is in search of right now. So I think this is a great move for the Canucks. If there are injury problems, you can LTIR it and send it off into space for a couple of years, and then he's gone. So I think this works for Vancouver. And then Garland, it's a good turnaround in Vancouver. He went from being a throw-in in the OEL trade to being a pretty consistent middle six scoring threat. I do think 6x6 is a touch of an overpay, but on both parts of it, I think it's too long and too much. But I also think that there is a very good player in there, and I think one that is a a pretty strong piece of what the Canucks are looking to do. These moves do make the Kane move a little bit more tolerable. He's not just the Boeser replacement now. I would still rather not have that guy on my team. Like, that is where that came down to. And Canuck fans in the comments of that video trying to justify this, that, and the other thing, fine. I just don't want that guy on my hockey team. That is ultimately what it comes down to. And the fact that Edmonton, I thought, was going to have to attach something to get out of that contract, and you kind of bail them out for admittedly not a lot, I was really quite surprised by. So I still wouldn't want it, but you are hoping that he replaces JT Miller on the ice. And the part that I'm worried about is he might be replacing him off of it. But if you are able to get the JT Miller that we have at home for that price, I think that is a very good swing for the Canucks to take. So I've softened my stance on it a little bit, but I'm not still overly thrilled with it. But now you look at this Canucks team, and they're actually pretty solid. It all comes down to EP40 in the middle, Elias Pettersson. If he can get back to his pre-contract form, then this is a team that should be very competitive in what is a very competitive Western Conference. But if you get best case scenario out of this roster, this is a team that can be extremely competitive, I think. I like a whole lot of this group. I like a lot of the pieces that they have, or a couple of pieces they have coming up anyway. I think they would like another second line center. I think that they would prefer Hedl to not be that behind Pettersson right now. But as it sits, you have him developing, you have Höglander developing, and I still think there's something great there in that kid. And Lekkerimaki, I feel like could be a bit of a stud as well. So they have a lot that is going on with them. Now, it's a couple of big ifs for them to get figured out. But if they can, then all of a sudden keeping around Quinn Hughes becomes a bit more of a realistic idea. A lot of people assuming that dude was good as gone. Even like as the Miller stuff was going down. But now you have the ability to put a competitive hockey team around him, and you feel pretty good about where you are at and potentially being able to make him stay. So some solid work, I think, from the Canucks. Deeds in the Twitch chat talking about his winners and losers. Of course, honorable mention to the Canucks. Flames bordered on mid, but I'm actually happy they didn't go out and go crazy. And then another thought here on the Canucks. With the team struggling with too much noise around the locker room, the Kane deal doesn't make much sense to me. That was a lot of where I was coming down with, is that you just had a season full-ass derailed. Like, not just, oh, we had a couple of weeks. No, this season, it got just fully stopped in its tracks. Mixing train metaphors here, but fully stopped in its tracks because of locker room drama. That guy is walking, talking locker room drama. And so I wouldn't have invited it into a situation I'm trying to have be a little bit more sturdy going into next season. But we'll see what they are able to do. But I certainly would agree with you on that one. The other part of this is I think that this makes the waiting game for Ehlers pay off immensely, because there was a whole lot of teams that at least one of them was going to get Boeser, and now they are not. And now Ehlers is the last chair available, and the music's about to stop. So all of a sudden, that market, I think, skyrockets for Nikolai Ehlers, as he is able to go out and really kind of pick his spot and pick his price with a number of different options that could be available to him. Let's go to the chat over on Twitch. Again, if you are watching this later or listening in podcast form, we do these live, twitch.tv/primetimepk, youtube.com/@couchpotatodiary, and kick.com/primetimepk. Deeds talking about winners and losers. I know it's not what you asked, but biggest winner of free agency has to be Florida not letting their big names leave. And then biggest losers is a toss-up between Edmonton and Toronto. Tough to argue. The Florida one is a masterclass, and we talked about it a little bit. I think I just filmed a video on it. We didn't do it live, but there is a video up talking about the Panthers situation right now. They nailed it with all the big contracts that are being handed out and everything. Like, this is these seem very reasonable, and you keep a championship core together. And are these going to look awesome in 4 years? Nope, not even a little bit. But Arvidsson got traded. Kane got traded. Contracts that we thought were untradeable got traded. Now, these ones might be a little bit on the higher side, but still, there are ways of being creative and getting around this. I have no problem with it. The Panthers are locking in with what is obviously a championship caliber roster and an elite level culture, and they have done an awesome job with that, so kudos to them for putting that together. In terms of biggest losers, toss up between the Oilers and Toronto. I think the Toronto one kind of ties in with Florida, because the assumption was they're looking to change the culture, and so to do that, you have to, like, Marner goes, and he did, but now you have to bring in a culture changer. And Bennett or Marchand was going to be that guy. And the fact that neither of them even got to hear the pitch from the Buds makes them a big loser, because now you have lost Marner, and that's fine. Like, if you wanted to switch things up, it was time to switch things up in Toronto. But this was not just addition by subtraction. You needed to add in new culture, new talent, be able to replace 102 goals or 102 points, sorry, and it is not just going to be with Matthew Nyes getting more awesome because you signed him to a bigger contract. This team needs to go out and add more talent, and there just isn't a lot of that is available right now. So I'm with you, Deeds. I think they are a big loser in this. On the Oilers side of it, they lost a bunch, and as of right now, they have only added Andrew Mangiapane. So I would agree with you on that. I think if you look, let's go into the Oilers vortex here now. I think if you look at Andrew Mangiapane and you go to the Hockey DB page, you see just something sticking out, and that's a 35-goal season. And it is something we have talked about on the radio out here before. It is something I've talked about on this podcast before. There is a difference between a 30-goal scorer and a guy who has scored 30 before. And Mange, for all the great things and everything like that, is a guy who scored 30 before. He is not a 30-goal scorer. Injuries have kind of taken some of that away from him, but I do think a lot of that production that he put out there was based off of who he was playing with. And I mean, look, he could be getting some pretty good line mates out in Toronto or out in Edmonton, so could help him out again, but that is just not an investment I would be locking into. I just don't think you can expect him to be even close to the 30-goal scorer that you saw of him. And then, like, to try to replace what is already out of town is pretty tough. Like, Klingberg, Brown, whatever. I wouldn't assign the Klingberg contract at all. Brown does fine. Arvidsson, I think they did good to move off of that, but now you need to use that cap space effectively. And I don't know if Mangiapane is the way to do that necessarily. Like, I don't even think he is a proper Connor Brown replacement, to just be perfectly frank with you. But the Perry one's a real loss, I think. I thought he was excellent in the playoffs, filling in for Hyman. And I am not one to sing the praises of Corey Perry, although admittedly, I might a little bit more now, just because the jersey's different. But I think he was very good. When Hyman went down, it was one of the reasons why I pushed back on, Hyman's out, so the Oilers are screwed. It's like, man, they're getting a pretty good Zach Hyman performance out of Corey Perry. And I thought it was a mistake when they moved him back down to the fourth line in the Cup final. And to just have that walk out the door for a couple $1,000,000 is really surprising to me. And so I don't know if he just didn't want to do it anymore, if he just wanted to be back out in California, or if he saw something that was going down that's like, well, this ain't going to be it. Let's try something else and go with the team that he has helped beat a few years in a row in the playoffs. That it feels like a big loss for Edmonton, and a much bigger one than I think people would give credit for, given the leadership and the production of that guy in the playoffs. And to get, like, Arvidsson you can replace at a much better value. Brown, I think they've tried with Mangiapane, but you can replace that. Klingberg, kind of same thing. The Perry one, to replace what he did and what he meant and the role that he took on after the injury to Hyman, to replace that for a couple $1,000,000 is going to be really hard for Edmonton to do. So, Deeds in the Twitch chat, I am definitely with you that there is a concern that might not necessarily go all that well for them and for Edmonton, and that they are one of the losers so far. If you want to help spread the word of Couch Potato Diary, hit that share button and share this video with your friends and just a couple people you don't like, just to mess with them a little bit. So, yeah, help us grow. Couch Potato Diary. The Carolina Hurricanes locking in a big part of some moves they made during the season last year, as Logan Stankoven has signed an 8-year, $48 million deal with the Hurricanes. He fit right in with them this season. It's 9 points in 19 regular season games, another 8 in 15 playoff games. I still think it was a mistake for them to trade Rantanen, ignoring the playoff push they had ahead. This makes it a little bit easier to take, obviously. Like, I like the kid a lot. I think that there's a ton of potential there. But now at $6 million a year, that potential needs to arrive. Like, we're talking about, oh man, fit right in, 9 points, 19 games. That ratio, that ain't going to work for $6 million a year. That needs to be tightened up. That we need to now get more production out of this kid. And I think he will get there, but now he has to, given that cap hit. Part of a good day for Carolina as they go out and take a swing on K'Andre Miller. 8 years, $7.5 million. Again, I think that we are paying for absolute best case scenario here and not baking in any, well, maybe he won't be that good insurance into this, but still I think a talented defenseman and a great spot for him to go, with Carolina being a team that has certainly maximized their minutes when it comes to young defensemen in the National Hockey League. So I think it's a great spot for him. I think it is a good swing to take for Carolina, and they are able to get this done without having to go down the offer sheet route and be able to put some conditions on firsts and just add it a little bit more. So I think they did a good job with the K'Andre Miller move here for them. And I was wondering, like, where is the better coming from? If that ends up just being like an Orlov replacement or a Burns replacement, I don't think it's that bad. And locking in Stankoven now, get him into your system for a full year, I think that will help out as well. I don't think they're close to the Panthers, but I think these things will help them. Anyway, we mentioned before, Corey Perry goes to the LA Kings. I think it was a good move. I think it was their best move of the day. I don't think it offsets how bad some of the other moves are that they made. So they were busy as they bring in Perry, Joel Armia, Brian Dumoulin, Cody Ceci, and Anton Forsberg. Like I said, I think the Perry deal is a good one. I think when you look at the production that he was able to provide when Hyman goes out of the lineup, when you look at the veteran leadership and all of those things, you are comfortable. If they have to go a couple of weeks with Kuzmenko, Kopitar, and Perry as their top line, cool. Yeah. He'll fit. It'll be okay. Defensively, I mean, maybe you want Kopitar in a better spot, but you know what I mean. Like, you can put him in a top 6 role and you'll feel okay. He will probably spend most of the season in a 4th-line role, and that's okay, too. I just think he fits what they are doing. I think Armia is a pretty good one as well. Like, I like him a lot as a player, and I think in a 3rd-line role on the Kings, that works very effectively. And Forsberg as a backup goalie is totally fine. Now the other ones. Dumoulin and Ceci, I don't get it. I don't see this at all. Ceci is proven to be a liability on the defensive side and has shown that time and time again in playoff after playoff. And I don't know if he just has pictures on everyone in the league or what it is. Like, I would genuinely love to sit someone down and just ask, like, what am I not seeing? Because at this point, I'm assuming it's a me problem. Because I think he is just wretched as a defenseman. I think any pairing he gets put on immediately takes a step back from what that other player was doing before. And, I mean, maybe there is a little bit of bad marketing in that, because a lot of people blamed him for Darnell Nurse's issues, and I think we saw in the postseason maybe Darnell Nurse's issues are just Darnell Nurse's issues and not Cody Ceci's, but still, he's just not good. And to give him 4.5 is insane. And Dumoulin, like, that signing came across, and the first reaction is, oh, he's in the league still. And it's 4. To pay those guys $8.5 million for next season, I don't understand it. This is one of the better defensive teams in the league. You could find what those guys do for $8.75 out on the market today. On September 2nd, you could go out and get whoever's going to replace those guys. You can get them on September 2nd. I don't like this at all. I think that they have a system that means you don't have to overspend on mid to less than mid defensemen. You have a roster that certainly doesn't need to be bundled up by bad NHL defensemen, and you have a potential of getting to the Stanley Cup final. of which those guys just don't fit into that. So I don't see it at all. I think this was a huge mistake for the Los Angeles Kings. The Anaheim Ducks make their splash as Mikael Granlund signs for a 3-year contract worth $7 million a year. I love this move for them. I like Granlund a lot. I think that when you look at how he was able to help turn things around in Dallas, and just kind of strengthen their lineup, and now what he is bringing to this team, I think is a very, very strong move for the Ducks. He's, again, strong scoring center. I think he fits with the roster really well. You either have incredible center depth with Karlsson, Granlund, McTavish, and Strome, or you put him on the wing, and you have an absurdly good top 6 or top 9. And the term and the dollar figure don't kill you either. He is about a $7 million hockey player. And although, I mean, when you compare it to what Boeser got, maybe not. But at 7, I think it's fine. It is maybe a bit of an overpay. But at 7, it's fine. And the term is 3 years. He's going to be 34 at the end of this contract. I think for a team with all this space, I think for a team that is looking to progress now, this is a very smart move for the Anaheim Ducks to make. So I like this a lot. This is going to be a dangerous competitive team now for a while, I think. And not just because they signed Granlund. Like, that they have the talent to get themselves there. I do think they still need to add to the blue line. You don't love seeing Radko Gudas in a top 4 or in an NHL jersey. But if he was my 6th, I'd feel fine. But they have him up in the top 4, and I'm not fine. So I would rather that the Ducks maybe spend some resources there. They do go out and make the goalie move as John Gibson goes to the Red Wings for Peter Mrazek and a pair of draft picks. It's not the haul it could have been at one time, and I am fairly certain every Oilers fan was like, that's it? But it lets you, it gets Gibson out of there. It lets him have a fresh start. It's a very good move, I think, for Detroit, and it allows Dostal to now have that net and have it be his team. And Mrazek, maybe you can flip to something else. Now in the category of NHL signings, what are the Rangers doing? They get Gavrikov for 7x7. And I will say that this is another guy. I just don't see it. I know that there are others who are very high on this particular human being as an NHL defenseman. I will count myself as not one of them. Like, I have never understood the amount of hot and bothered everyone was getting when, Gavrikov could be available. Did you know that he could be available in trades? Oh, look, this is a free agent. What a big get he could potentially get. I am not a fan. And so because of that, 7x7, my word. I'm not a fan of the term or that dollar amount, and I'm really not a fan when you compare this to what Miller got from Carolina. And if obviously there is trade compensation in there as well, but drawing a 1-to-1, I do not think that is going to be kind to Gavrikov as this contract goes along. So I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And for a Rangers team that had the season from hell a year ago and are now trying to be half pregnant, where they are moving veteran players out, trying to keep a few of them in because Panarin's contract is up in a year, and trying to figure out what to do. I mean, this is obviously a win now type of a move, although 7 years, it gives you some breathing room. But I don't see where the better is coming from, and it certainly ain't coming from this guy. The Boston Bruins also take a bit of a swing. And a miss with Tanner Jeannot. He is the type of reclamation project that I don't mind the Bruins taking for a year. 5? At 3.4? No. What are you doing? Like, this is... I was going to say that you are banking on best case scenario here. I don't think that's entirely accurate. I still think that there is a range of outcomes where this kid finds it and turns into something actually pretty good. But I'm not willing to bet it for 5 years on it unless you have the scout who saw that, oh no, there's actually superstar potential in there. He just hasn't. Then okay, but no, it hasn't shown at any point that a 5-year commitment is the thing that you want to be doing with this team. And spare me with the cap's going up nonsense. That is going to be, like, how do we not learn from any of these things? How have we not seen in any sport where there's a salary cap, when the cap goes up and bad contracts are justified exclusively with, well, the cap's going up, how many of those teams end up regretting? How many bad contracts that we're talking about right now were justified with, well, the cap's going up? Sweet. That's awesome. That's supposed to help you, not just keep the status quo. This doesn't help you. This at 3.4 is not helping you. He either turns into the thing that you think he is, and then we can put this on Cold Takes Exposed all you want. Or he keeps up the proven track record of being him that he has had for his entire NHL career, and 3.4 is about twice what you should be paying for that guy, and you stuck into it for 5 years. Like, I feel like you can get this, again, on a PTO that you end up signing. Like, I am, maybe I'm wrong, probably, but I don't see this at all. And then Corrali gets 2 years? Like, who are they negotiating against? That Corrali needed 2 years and Tanner Jeannot needed 5. I don't get it. I also didn't like the Arvidsson thing. Like, he helps, sure. He does kind of feel like a Bruin, but that's another one that I thought Edmonton was going to have to attach something to be able to get rid of that. And the fact that they got something back is just, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, the Chicago Blackhawks taking a wait-and-see approach, which, given I would probably rather wait and see than whatever the fuck the Bruins are doing. But I digress. The Blackhawks did nothing to improve their position, with all due respect to a contract extension to Ryan Donato. I talked about this being a very desperate team. They showed none of that on day one. And now, some bad contracts were handed out day one. But to have even the foggiest sense that status quo in Chicago right now is okay is so beyond me. When you see what Connor Bedard is and isn't turning into, I am genuinely surprised by that. So maybe they are just crazy like a fox and there's another big move coming, or maybe there is some rapid development in a few players that are going to help get Connor Bedard to the levels that you want him to get to. But I was very surprised the Blackhawks did nothing on day one. I really like the Lightning picking up Pelche for 3 years. He has a lot to offer. As I have middle six written down here, it's probably bottom six forward at this point. But this is the type of player that this team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, turns into gems. And Pelche, he has that dog, he has that competitiveness, he is amazing in the locker room. I don't know how great he is at hockey from an NHL perspective. I think we kind of see what he is in someone who can be a third liner for you, go out, check, put the puck in the net occasionally, and just go out and try really, really hard. And you need guys like that. Like he feels like the type that whoever plays the Lightning in a playoff series next year are going to be like, this bleeping guy. And he's going to be doing it with a smile on his face. So, good for them, and good for Pelche for getting another opportunity after being not tendered by the Flyers. Anthony Mantha, it's an interesting move for the Penguins today. I don't mind a team like this taking that kind of a flyer for 1 year. Bruins, 1 year. It makes so much sense. He's coming off of an injury. He is low risk. Maybe he turns into what a lot of people thought he would, and then what he kind of did, and then it wasn't again. But if he can turn into anything, then the Penguins either have something to try to keep them somewhat competitive, or more realistically, they've just signed a mid-level draft pick. Either way, not a bad move for the Pittsburgh Penguins.